Hoo-wee. Shit. What's poppin'? My fellow slimes. Grandma. With the first dono of the night. This music loud. I feel like this music is loud as fuck. Just a slight turn down. Thank you for the $7 from Canada. Thank you, thank you. I don't know why this music just... Does it sound loud as fuck? I thought I fucking got these settings figured out before. It just sounds loud as ball sacks. And Jacob Bowling. Welcome back to the Butterstuck Call for 3 whole ass months. Jacob says, my father passed away yesterday, and Thursday is his funeral. My wife, Stephanie, wants to comfort me with my sadness, but she doesn't know what to say. Oh, well, I am very sorry to hear that, my friend. That's a very, very serious thing to go through. So I know somebody in the chat may have experienced something similar, but I'm so sorry to hear that. Seriously, I don't really know what I would do when I lose my father. But hello, my friends, and welcome to the stream. As you know, Monday was a compilation podcast video, so that kind of cuts out one of the streams for the week on Sundays. But I'm back, baby. Here to read the spooky shit. And oh, the spooky shit that we have. These particular spookies are about Easter. If you're familiar with that holiday. What is Easter, Google? Google, what's Easter? Easter, also called Pascha, or Resurrection Sunday, is a Christian festival and cultural holiday commemorating the resurrection of Jesus from the dead, described in the New Testament as having occurred on the 3rd day of his burial following his crucifixion by the Romans at Calvary in 30 AD. So, there will be zombies. The zombie of Christ. The skull of Christ. David De La Rosa with the 5 says, hi Joel, how are you doing? Did you see WrestleMania HHH while Triple H retired? Also Stone Cold Steve Austin's fight, his last match. It was awesome. I did not. I gotta be honest, like the only person I even just loosely follow in the WWE is that Eric Bugenhagen, or Bugehagen, the Bugs. But somebody tagged me on Twitter, said that he got injured, which kind of stinks. But yeah, it's crazy. Triple H was wrestling for that long. That's a very seasoned career to just be like kicking ass, man. It's crazy. Thank you for the 5. And Miss Molly with the 10 says, Joel, my love, how are you doing? I hope life is treating you well. I have started writing again, so it's nice to returning to that. I hope you have a good night. I'll be lurking. Thank you, Miss Molly. And it's exciting that you're writing. It is good to have an outlet for that kind of thing. Fun fact, Jesus was born on April 6th, and so was I. Yeah, how do they know? How do they historically know when Jesus was born? Because I always thought they just used the, I don't know, the Gospels as like sort of historical documents within that context. I guess they did. Did they even know it was Christmas? I guess they never specifically said it was Christmas, so I don't know why we would. I guess Christmas is just when you celebrate the birth. How did they know when he was born? Jacob Bowling with the 5 says, at least I have the Butterstock Call to help me get through my... We're here for you, Jacob. Glad you could still make it even in that tough time, my friend. And thank you for the 5. Amalia with the 5 says, hey Joel, been a while since I caught a live stream. Love the new merch design. Yeah, that new merch design is amazing. Seriously, if you guys haven't checked it out, it's over on shop.spreadshirt.com/ Let's Read. But you can check it out more as a sort of sampler over on... There's 3 different designs, and they're all involving the good boy Pradeep, the master of disaster. He's behind me right now, perched on a chair. And it's pretty sick, yeah, but you can see it over on Instagram at letsread.official, and Twitter too. Twata at Let's Read Creepy. Believes in unicorns through Zombie Jesus riseth from the dead. George A. Romero's The Bible. That would be interesting. Rest in peace to Jesus. Rest in peace to George A. Romero. Althea. Oh, you're reading my horoscope. Here, I'm going to read yours. What's this say? Oh, let me type it in. Horoscopes for the blind. Okay. I'm reading. It says that you're going to shit poop out of your butt into a toilet. What? No way, dude. That's probably so accurate. Did you do that today? Dude, they just know, I swear to God, they just know stuff about you sometimes. Hannah with the 2 says, I'm so excited for Pradeep. Sure. Oh, nice. Yeah. If you guys get merch, like I said, always please do tag me on social media because I love promoting it. And I love showing off the fans, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you. Wait, 21st century, because he was crucified in spring, conceived in spring, therefore birthday December 25th. Seems logical, I guess. I don't know. Oh, they determined the conception time frame and then built it from there based on human breeding patterns. Doctrine and Covenants, a collection of revelations mostly through the Mormon founding prophet Joseph Smith Jr. Since his book, he have accepted April 6th as the real date of Jesus' birth. Huh. But like, wouldn't that just be based on the Mormon one? So it would be like less, I don't know, contextually accurate, you know what I mean? Do y'all remember when we were kids and we would mix up all our leftover lunch crap together and dare someone to eat it? I'm sorry. You know, I do remember that. I was there that day when you tried to force me to eat that shit. I'll never forget. Jacob with the 2 says, I won't miss Joel's stream. Well, I appreciate that, Jacob. That takes a lot of commitment. So thank you. You are from Utah, raised Mormon. Nice. Sending so much love and hugs to all of those who have lost loved ones. I'm so sorry for your loss. Keeping all the prayers. Yeah. I can't imagine, man. Tough time for a lot of people sometimes. Joel, the ultimate question, Megadeth or Metallica? I don't know. I feel like I've heard a lot more Metallica songs, to be honest, to like even make a distinction between the two. I don't really feel like I recall. Like, there's some Megadeth songs I recall, but only, I mean, definitely not as much as Metallica. Did anyone get a roll with school lunch and make a bread ball? Oh yeah, dude, ever since I was younger, with like fruit roll-ups and just like anything that can be squished down into a dense material, mainly just like fruit roll-ups and fruit by the foot. Well, yeah, it was mainly fruit by the foot, I guess, but I would roll that shit up into a fucking ball and just squish it together and keep it in my cheek like a chaw. Lauren NASCAR with the 10. What up? What is poppin', NASCAR? Still making left turns, I hope. Thank you for the 10.
Hey, listen.
How's everyone doing? Everett Burn Duran. How's everyone doing? People point out Jacob's $5 donation from earlier. No, yeah, the are you referring to the one? At least I have the Butterstock call to help me get through my father's death. Yeah, no, I did read that one. Unless there was another one I missed. Yeah, I think I had gotten that one, but thank you, Hannah. Yeah, sorry, I saw you saying that. I thought you were referring to the $2 one, which I got as well, but as I was scrolling. But yeah, we're good, thank you. Oh my god, fern. Drifts into orbit. Where are you gonna go? Mega poop. Nope. Metallica is the best ever. My tattoo proves it. Althea, what other crazy tats you got inked on you? I'm a Gemini. This means you're destined one day to have a strange, unknown disease that turns out to be the largest burp known to me. Yeah, just waiting inside of me. You guys have only heard little squirts of it so far, but wait till the real thing finally releases from my bloated tum-tum. You only make left-hand turns. Sometimes it takes me forever to get places. I know. Sometimes you just be going in circles. Jacob with the 5 says, I have a Stephanie update. Stephanie will do her 3rd ultrasound on April 8th to see our beautiful daughter Jolene growing. That's awesome. Yeah, how often do you have to get ultrasounds? How many during the 3 trimester situation? It seems like quite a bit. But I guess that makes sense. I don't know. If you're a Gemini, it means you're prone to sparkly farts. Yes, usually I eat a lot of glitter, so it just comes out. Can't get your fruit snack package open? What the fuck? Step aside. Let me handle it. I'm gonna rip it with my fucking mind. Ready? Here, we're gonna rip it together. 3, 2, 1. Rip! Got it. Easy. Fucking easy, dude. They recommend you don't get an ultrasound all the time. Right, yeah. You're a Gemini, but unfortunately my farts are not sparkly. Well, Gabby, you gotta figure that shit out. What color should you dye your hair? Maybe brown. You know, nobody ever does brown. Everybody's so obsessed with blue and red and rainbow. Sometimes it's good to just bring it back to baseline. When you go viral, you have to remember us, so please write our usernames on a secure notepad and put it inside of inside the containment chamber. Go viral. Yeah, it's kind of interesting actually, just like how my YouTube channel has progressed as a channel. It's pretty much like gotten the same views and same like daily subscriber amount, like just the same, like consistently. And maybe it's because of my upload schedule, but it's just like consistently been that way for years. It's just kind of interesting. It's great, you know what I mean, to be consistent, but it's just, yeah, never really had too many like viral videos. Blue Rooster with the 20 says, what's up, Dank Daddy? I really want you to know how much I appreciate your hard work. Your channel has kept me company through many lonely days driving truck over the road. You have definitely helped me just being here. Well, I got good news, Blue Rooster. We got trucker stories coming down the road. I've been looking into it more for you, and I really appreciate the 20. So look forward to that. I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be, but definitely stay tuned. And thank you for the 20. Seriously, that's very generous, and I hope you're staying safe out there. Please avoid any snow squalls should they rear their ugly head. spoiled us with the last ASMR. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you guys about, you know how like I've been like naming those compilation videos like kind of sort of memey stuff, like scary stories to cure your anxiety or to help you sleep or whatever. Do you guys think like titling, even though it's the same type of content, do you think the fact that I like titled it like 31 True Scary Stories, but it's sleep ASMR? I mean, I'm sure you've seen those videos where it's like Jurassic Park, but it's the B-movie script or something. You know what I mean? Like it's just that type of meme format for videos, but it's this, or but I do that. You know what I mean? And I'm just kind of wondering like if the sleep ASMR title was something that if you were watching it as a normal fan who's used to the content, would you think that it's like the sort of like mouth clicky ASMR stuff, you know what I mean? Like the eating of noodles and shit, literal shit. Or if you're like a random, like who's just being suggested the video, would you think that like you wouldn't want to click on it? Okay, the ASMR is fitting. My guy, meme format all the way. Yeah, I just wondered if I should have meme formatted in a more like approachable sense in the way that I had before. I don't think you have to say many stories, but you can just say sleep prescription ASMR. Yeah, I'm just like wondering if, because people hear, well, right, like Aiden, you dislike ASMR, but a lot of people consider my voice ASMR, so you can see why, like, in the sort of communication sense and the language sense, why someone who also dislikes ASMR but doesn't already know my voice might be sort of turned off by the title and maybe not even click it. I don't know. Oh hey, what's up, Creepy Fox? My only guess is people getting mad at the ASMR title are people who aren't subbed. Yeah, that was really weird. That one dude got so mad. It was the Chad Slayer. I love that name. It's just fun. He's my hard counter. But he was saying that he like would not, or he would unsubscribe if I ever thought about using the title ASMR in a video again, which I don't understand. Like if it's the same content, I could title the video 00101111001. Like what's the, does someone have like trauma, you know what I mean, with fucking ASMR? I thought that's like supposed to help people. I don't know. I sound like an alien. I might be an alien, who knows. Sent here to eat pizza and ass. Jacob with the 5 says, Joe, I want to say thank you for your support and the Butterstock call for all the support. My wife's... Oh, absolutely, Jake. We're here for you, friend. Praying and hoping all that goes well for you. Yeah, it's whatever. But I saw that comment, and you know, even though it was a meme comment, it's like negative comments do affect you, and sometimes I wonder if people just leave negative stuff just to get attention, because hey, it did get attention, which maybe I shouldn't have rewarded it with a social media post or whatever, or giving it any attention. I honestly don't think that video was ASMR, it was just light music in the back. Well, that's the thing, is that like, maybe I'll change the title down the road here after a while, but like some people like think my voice is ASMR, in the sense of like helping them sleep or relax. So I kind of feel like sometimes that the definition of ASMR like the ASMR sometimes is kind of muddied. Flower Mist, I appreciate it. Oh, you make animations. Let's go. All right, my friends. Well, we have passed. Of course, I kind of like this part of the song. I'll just do a little bit of a taste of the song because it's fucking fire. Ready? You could post a video without any title and I'd click it. Hell, you could title it Pickle and I'd click. That'd be so funny. Just a 3-hour video, just pickle, and it's just a picture of a shitty, like, low-res pickle. What is ASMR? Well, it means like autonomous sensory meridian response, but basically the concept is that like it's some sort of like audible experience you get when you have like headphones on, you're listening to something, and it gives you like tingles or helps you relax, you know? What's that song called? It's actually custom music made, and it's available to anybody who becomes a member, along with various other awesome bonus content. My voice is better than ASMR. Right, yeah, I should have titled that 31 true scary stories that are better than ASMR. And then with a parentheses just said, fuck you. And then like another parentheses said like, not you guys, but ASMR, haha. Okay. Would you rather be maidenless or read scary stories? What? I don't think I understand the question. It's sounds that tingle your brain or calm you, like maybe people sound of rain, some people like whispering. Yeah, I mean, you'll often notice that like somebody who's really into ASMR and stuff, or like has an ASMR channel, like it's really heavily focused around like stereo sound, so it hits like both of your ears, like, you know, left to right, left to right. I don't know if you guys can hear that from me necessarily. Hey, Crystal, thank you for the one. Thank you, thank you. But like, yeah, they'll usually turn up the like reception really high on their mic, and they can hear everything from like, you know, throat gargles to sucking on noodles. Just, and I'm not really a big fan of the food eating ones because they just make me feel gross. Like there's a bunch of like worms crawling through my brain. ASMR. You guys listen to ASMR? ASMR can be very disturbing. Just got the treadmill. Drinking some green smoothie, ready for let's go. Also, my bedtime has been kind of normal this week, so I might be a little bit extra tired today, because I'll probably pass out as soon as we're done. Big Mac or Whopper? Probably Whopper, to be honest with ya. I would never lie about such a thing. All right, let's get spooky. Let's scratch some utensils and ceramic plates. Peel the skin off my body. Have Pradeep lick the microphone, call it. I mean, yeah, that's the cool thing about like when ASMR was like first popping off. Any random glib glob could do just wake up and eat fucking a burrito. Whatever time they ate, just make a new video and turn the mic up. I don't know. If you guys think I should change the title in that video, because I noticed it like didn't really like do as well as they normally do. So I was kind of like, maybe. How do I switch up the tine? What is it? What sounds do I consider as ASMR? I don't know, honestly. Whispering, noodle sucking, glib globbing, demon whispering ASMR. I feel like someone has to have done like demonic voices, like, or like schizophrenic voices or something like that. For, I remember listening to a video that was like supposed to simulate like hearing really, you know, hyper like active schizophrenic voices, and it was very, very uncomfortable, but you know, as one would probably expect. People feel distracted this week. Maybe also change the title. Yeah, maybe I'll do that later here. Maybe tomorrow. Or maybe after this video releases, this Easter one, then I'll go back and change that one. Ew, yeah, the ear licking shit. Like I've seen, what's her name? Like Amaranth on like Twitch. She just like licks ears for, or not ears, but like those ear microphones for a goddamn fucking like hours straight. And I'm like, dude, she's gonna build up like a hairball, or she's gonna like wear that thing down like a gobstopper.
Listen,
But also it just like makes me go like, ugh, please stop, please. D Shore with the 694. Thank you, D Shore. And Grandma with the 14 Canadian maple syrup dollars says self-care ASMR is pretty relaxing, but it can definitely get really weird. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, like, you're either into it or you're not. Even though I do really like the French whisperer ASMR to fall asleep, just because it's, I guess you could call that informative ASMR. I don't know what you want to call it, but he pretty much just whispers very lightly as he talks about different topics that are usually like, oh, they vary, I guess, in what they're about.
Hey, listen.
I want to share a story from my childhood with you, one that ended in years of therapy for me. It's not scary in the traditional sense, I don't think, because I don't suppose I was any... It's not scary in the traditional sense, I don't think, because I don't suppose I was in any real danger, but I'll tell it to you anyway, and you can be the judge of it if you read it out in one of your videos. It was the Easter of 1995, and I had just turned 6 years old a month before. So I was still really young and naive to all the darker things in the world, and on the Easter's... Oops. You know what, I'm gonna... Well, maybe I won't restart, but I guess I can just edit where the story starts. Switched up so fast, yeah, right to Spooky Man. Jekyll and Hyde, but both of them are pretty chill. It was Easter of 1995, and I had just turned 6 years old a month before, so I was still really young and naive to all the darker things in the world. And on Easter Sunday, I remember my mom taking me to an Easter egg hunt that was being held at a local church. I was so excited to get to play with the other kids outside of school. Like, it seemed like such a novelty to see everyone in their own clothes, and their Sunday best at that. That, and knowing that we'd all be literally hunting for chocolate treats, was something I was so bloody excited for, and I remember that really vividly. But that's not the only thing from that day that I remember vividly, and the other thing was way, way worse than the prospect of cavities from overeating chocolate. I remember finding a couple of eggs to start with, and I ran over to my mom, who was standing with the other parents so she could keep them safe from me. But then as the morning went on and more of the kids started finding their own eggs, it got harder and harder to find any. I remember wanting to give up, as did most of the other kids, as it was just too difficult to find any more eggs, so we basically assumed that they were all gone. But then, the priest announced that he'd counted up all the eggs that had been found and that there were definitely still 1 or 2 left out there on the grounds of the church. Myself and the other kids went into a frenzy at the hearing of that, knowing that we'd somehow managed to miss a couple of the eggs. 95 was a good year. Yeah, what happened in 1995? Didn't Pokemon release around then in Japan? Myself and the other kids went into a frenzy at the hearing. Myself and the other kids went into a frenzy at hearing that, knowing that we'd somehow managed to miss a couple of the eggs. I remember running off further than the other kids and completely ignoring my mum when she told me not to run off too far. A few moments later, I found myself wandering through some trees, my eyes scanning the undergrowth, looking for the telltale shimmer of the shiny wrapper paper that... The 90s was such a good year for rock and metal, I know. Yeah, it's kind of weird, like, you don't really see rock and metal, like, sort of on the top 40s hits. I mean, I don't even know what's on the top 40s hits anymore. Like, to make it to the top 40s hits, I really do think that you need to be made in the lab. Pokemon was released in 95 and Marlena Evans was possessed by the devil. Good times. Yeah. Coincidence? I think not. A few moments later, I found myself wandering through some trees, my eyes scanning the undergrowth, looking for the telltale shimmer of the shiny wrapping paper that each egg was contained in. Moments later, I saw someone standing just behind a small bush, standing perfectly still with their back to me. I could only really see the top half of them, but I remember recognizing that it was a girl from the long hair that she had, that was tied back in like this light purple bauble. "Are you looking for eggs too?" I remember asking, but the girl didn't move. I then took a few more steps towards her. Around the bush she was... Sorry. Sometimes I don't pick up on the rhythm. There's sometimes there's a rhythm to writing that I can find, but in 95 when the simulation or whatever were in the branch off into hell. Was that the year where the simulation took us down the dark times? I then took a few more steps towards her. Around the bush she was half concealed behind, and I suddenly noticed that her feet were dangling a few inches off the ground. I also suddenly noticed that her tie, what looked like a school tie anyway, wasn't hanging down. It was up in the air, and was tied around a tree branch maybe a few feet above her head. Being so young and naive, I didn't put two and two together. I just thought it was some kind of game or something. I had no idea what I was actually looking at. It sounds quite silly thinking back on it, but I actually thought she was asleep or something, but then I walked around to her front and saw her face. It was almost the same color as her bauble, this purpley color all over her cheeks and forehead, only unlike the nice pretty shade that her bauble was, this kind of purple looked all wrong to be on someone's face like that. That's when I remember running back to my mom in tears, and when everyone asked me what was wrong, all I could do was wail and point back towards where I had just run from. I remember some of the other adults running off into the trees, maybe thinking some perv was back there or something, but moments later, they came running back out again, shouting all different things and presumably calling 999. I didn't see anything else after that. All the kids got whisked away to prevent them from seeing anything else that might distress them. I do remember that about a week later, a lot of the other adults went to a funeral, not that I knew it at the time. I just went to stay with my grandparents over in Peterborough. Tim Richards, I like big donkey balls. Thank you, Tim. Good to know. Holy shit. What even happened in this story? It just went from 0 to 100 right quick. $250 people hit that like button. Oh yeah, please do hit that like button if you guys would be so kind, and share this out with the world by clicking that share button. Also, Mega, I saw you did that clip on Twitter. I thought that was funny, like an out of context clip or something that you tagged me in. That was, is that something you have to wait till the stream is, of a VOD, or can you do it while the stream is happening? Because that was pretty cool. Let me just look up how to say this. Peterborough. 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 Peterborough.
Mischievous dog.
Hey, Ashley. I like turtles. Welcome back, Turtle Liker, for 2 months of glorious buttersock action. And you have access for month 2 of bonus content. You're gonna do more. I can do it live or after, like, to see the little scissor. Okay, cool. I was just curious because I know it's like not every like stream and not every YouTube channel has like all the features all the time. Like the one I wish I had was like the was the super thanks. I don't know if you guys have seen that on some YouTube channels. You can like do a donation, but like just to a normal video. Not saying you would have to. I'm just saying like it's cool that some places have that, and I'm curious if they actually get people donating like outside of live streams and that kind of thing. I do remember that about a week later, a lot of the other adults went to a funeral. Not that I knew it at the time. I just went to stay with my grandparents over in Peterborough for a night. It was only many years later that I actually found out what was going on. The girl had been living in our village with her parents, but had been going through a period of depression for quite some time. I don't know exactly what it was, but there was an incident at her school that meant she didn't want to go anymore. But her parents weren't in a position to just pack up and move somewhere else, so they basically just let her take some time off, then made her go back to the same school she was having issues in. She was supposed to go in on the Friday before I found her, just for a half day to get her used to things before the Easter holidays commenced. I think it was just supposed to be a nice and casual thing for her, something to reintroduce her to school without it being too intense or heavy or whatever. But apparently, she'd literally rather die than go back to that school, and instead, she went to the church, as close to the graveyard as she could get without literally being there, and did what you can possibly imagine from a tree by her own school tie. And did what you can possibly imagine to herself from a tree by her own school tie. It's all an incredibly sad and tragic story, and like I said, I ended up going through therapy for a few years because it really damaged my psyche as a kid. Because I didn't understand what I'd seen, I kept asking my mom and dad about it, and obviously they meant that... Helinator. I can't see it. Helionator? Or Helinator. I don't know why I can't see it from this far away, like the two L's. With the 5 says, perfect timing, just started cleaning up the house. Nothing better than some live Let's Read. Did you read the story of the Gargalon yet? No, we're getting there. We're definitely getting close to gargling on. Gargling onward. Thank you for the 5. And thank you, Jacob, for the 5. Says, I've said this before, I'll say it again. When Joel streams, I won't miss it. If it was my last day on Earth, hell yeah. Hopefully, when Armageddon comes, I'll still be streaming. Taking the SAT next month. Should I be frightened for my life? I don't think so. Just take a cram course or whatever and just bang that out, you know what I mean? I think I took it my I think I took it my senior year, and I took a cram course for that. And I don't remember doing exceptionally well, but you do want to try to do your best, you know what I mean? And just it's more just like getting used to how the test progresses, but obviously you want to know shit too. Reading comprehension, and of course math. Always with the math. Yeah, it's a heavy... I apologize, yeah, it's a very heavy story around the gate. Oh, fuck. Because I didn't understand what I'd seen, I kept asking my mom and dad about it, and obviously that meant that they had to basically explain what death was to me. All of my grandparents were still alive at that stage, and none of my pets... All of my grandparents were still alive at that stage, and none of my pets had gone to heaven yet, as my parents put it, so the whole concept was entirely new to me. Needless to say, the whole thing messed me up massively, and all my parents could think to explain to me was that the girl had had an accident, as they couldn't bring themselves to explain what it was of taking your own life to a 6-year-old girl. Can't even blame them really though, can you? The whole thing was bad enough without having to explain something like that. Anyway, it took me a while, but I did manage to get over it after a few years. I suppose kids can be quite resilient like that, and I know for a fact that all the therapy sessions have helped tremendously. I still remember how nice the woman was, how calm her voice, Jesus, sorry. Very calming voice. Ashley with the 2 says, y'all are such amazing dates. Are we all on a date right now? Is this one big mingle hangout? Tia Lock with the 2 says, have you heard of Dark Somnium? Yeah, I love Dark Somnium. Ronnie, big Ronnie, how's he doing? He's last I remember his he was having issues with his AdSense issue on YouTube, and then he got that figured out, so I was happy to hear that. Was there a stream on Sunday night? There was not. No, it was a podcast compilation the next day, so that's kind of a once a month thing. And you can even set your clocks to not anticipate. You can set your clocks to not anticipate a stream a month from that one. Lauren NASCAR, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Bonus content, sorry. Checks internet. What's going on with that internet? Yes, indeed, she had seen him on Good Friday. Sorry. Sometimes I read the comments and I realize that you're talking to somebody else too. Yeah, this is Joel Mingle. A dark Easter story greater than a dark Easter. Yeah, true. Hey, Vixo, what's happened? I don't know if you were already in there. If I missed you. Anyways, I shall continue onward. I still remember how nice the woman was, how calm her voice made me, and how she didn't really treat me like a baby, even though she was still super kind and gentle in her mannerisms. But yeah, that's my story, and although I definitely still think about how that poor... But yeah, that's my story, and although I definitely still think about that poor girl from time to time, I'm not nearly as traumatized as I used to be over it. I just wish I knew what the thing was that made her so afraid to go to school. I know it could have been a bullying thing, but sometimes I wonder if it wasn't something much darker and eviler. Maybe one of her teachers was doing something that she couldn't bring herself to tell her parents. I really, really hope that wasn't the case, but even so, it doesn't matter, does it? Because she still chose the most horrible solution imaginable to whatever problem she had. And with that, the truth of whatever horrible thing had happened to her died along with her. I'm sorry that this was too dark or depressing for your channel. I know it wasn't some silly ghost story. Sorry, hold on, let me just make sure. I'm getting chased by a psycho, but it's without a doubt the scariest, most traumatizing. Okay. Anna from War Boys. Anybody here from War Boys? Oh. Hey, Jacob with a $2 Reno says, I watched WrestleMania. It was alright. Nice, okay. That's awesome. WrestleMania. And Grandma with the 279 Canadian says, looking for a retro Tamagotchi on the internet. Okay. Yeah, I remember getting those when I was younger. They were fucking sweet. Well, I remember getting Digimon, and that there was a random Tamagotchi. I remember there was this one shitty department store where they just got a bunch of bargain stuff, but they wouldn't even have them in packages sometimes. They would just be on the shelves. And I remember being very tempted as a child to just pick up that off-brand Tamagotchi and place it directly in my pocket. Completely oblivious to the authorities. I didn't, though. I was too pure of heart. My good ranking went up, though. Swook, welcome back. You now have access to bonus content by joining the Buttersock Call. Thank you. I really, really hope that wasn't the case. But even so, It doesn't matter, does it? Because she still chose the most horrible solution imaginable to whatever problem she had. And with that, the truth of whatever horrible thing had happened to her died along with her. How many stalkers I got? Too many. Too many. Can you share links in the chat? I don't think it lets you. Unless you're a mod. Or me. My favorite cartoon growing up? Oh man. There's so many good ones. I want to say looking back I really liked, well, probably Dragon Ball Z for sure. Because I watched that religiously every day from like 4th grade to 6th grade. And then realized that, you know, Goku was never going to power up. So I just walked away from the TV. But yeah, like Batman the Animated Series, that one was so good. And then Hey Arnold, I just remember, like, had such good production value and it was fun to watch. I really liked the episodes of Hey Arnold where they had like some sort of mysterious creature, like Lockjaw the turtle. Was it Lockjaw? Or like that huge like prehistoric fish that existed in the lake when they had that like fishing day. And I liked how there was so many characters that they like examined, you know what I mean? They like went into the details of their lives and how they like sort of interacted with other characters. You have a sister that's way older than you, and when she was little she had a Tamagotchi and she had got really sad when her pet died, so my parents got a dog for her and whatnot. Well, there you go. I guess you got a dog too, by proxy, huh? Hey, Cider, what's poppin'? Hey Arnold fan fiction, yes. The Hey Arnold fanfic is getting, or fandom is getting out of hand. Swook with the 5 says, good to be back, my friend. Been waiting for the stream to hang with all the loves. Well, thank you, Swook, for the 5, and thanks for being here. We appreciate your presence, your presence. Nickelodeon was amazing back then. Rugrats too. Yeah, does Nickelodeon, what is it now? Like, I don't even know what, like, when's the last show anybody's been stoked about since, like, SpongeBob? I think I got a story you might be interested in, and it's from when I was in the Philippines a few years back around Easter. So, being a really Christian country, Filipinos take Easter very, very seriously. There are tons of celebrations everywhere, feasts and special markets and stuff. It's a pretty amazing experience to be there during that time of year. I ended up eating some incredible food and seeing some incredible things too, but then one of the things I saw was literally one of the... Where's Fry? Fry, you're gonna have to confirm if this story is true. But then one of the things I saw was literally one of the single most terrifying things I've ever seen. Legitimately like something out of a horror movie. No disrespect intended to the Philippines, as I love the country and I can't wait to go back sometime, but someone get really crazy. What does that mean? Someone get really crazy. No disrespect intended to the Philippines, as I love that country and I can't wait to go back sometime, but some get really crazy during Easter. I was just walking around enjoying all the amazing food on offer, especially the pork skewers, dampa shrimp, and this kind of cake thing called mango float. Picture it like I'm walking down the main drag, and down each of the little streets to my left, there's little parties going on. Shirtless guys drinking in the streets, generally a good time being had by all. Then the next thing I know, I look down one of the streets and I literally see Jesus. Or rather, not the actual Jesus, Son of God from 2,000 years ago. I see a Filipino guy dressed as Jesus. Not just that, though. He has a red robe on, the crown of thorns, and is carrying this huge-looking cross, like the whole Passion of the Christ getup. He wasn't the only one dressed up, though. A bunch of guys are dressed up as Roman soldiers, and they're playing the part too, shouting at the crowd if they get too close, whipping them with these sort of cat-o'-nine-tails style flails. It was pretty amazing to watch, but some Pinoy, that means Filipino dude, must have noticed the look on my face, kind of how amazed I was, and comes over like, "First time?" I told him, yeah, that we don't really have anything like that where I'm from, and he just smiles and tells me to walk a few streets over if I want to see something really mind-blowing. I couldn't really have imagined anything crazier than that at the time, but boy was I wrong to think it couldn't get any crazier. But as I walked down in the direction he pointed, and looked left down the street, the first thing I notice is tons and tons of what appeared to be blood. There had to be like 15 to 20 guys all walking around in a loop, and they're whipping themselves with whips with dried palm fronds on the end. They're like the leaves on a palm tree, and when they're dried out like that, I imagine they really hurt. But the fronds weren't what was causing all the blood to pour out of their backs. That much was clear, because every so often one or two of the guys would drop a line drop out of line and head over to this guy who looked like he was holding something small. Okay. Jacob with the 5 says, my WrestleMania entrance is Triple H's WrestleMania 21 entrance with Motorhead playing his theme song live. That's sick. Do you think Jolena will be a professional wrestler when she grows up? Joe, they were doing the Stations of the Cross. They do that in uber Christian Catholic countries. It's them repenting during Lent. Interesting. There had to be like 15 to 20 guys, all walking around in a loop, and they're like whipping themselves with whips with dried palm fronds on the end. They're like the leaves on a palm tree, and when they're dried out like that, I imagine they really hurt. But the fronds weren't what was causing all the blood to pour out of their backs. That much was clear, because every so often one or two of the guys would drop out of line and head over to this guy who looked like he was holding something small in his hand. They turned their backs to him, and he just started jabbing them with what I later found out was a freaking razor blade. Then once they were maybe 24 heavily bleeding wounds on their back, they'd rush back into line and carry on whipping themselves. I think I suddenly understood what the palm frond whips were for, too, once I saw how they flicked blood all over the place. Oh, I see. Jelly beans? They're for flicking jelly beans, obviously. How many stories? I believe there's 5 stories tonight. I think I suddenly understood what the palm frond whips were for, too, once I saw how they flicked blood all over the place. They weren't to hurt so much as like spreading. They weren't to hurt so much as like spread the blood all over the street. I was hitting. God damn it. They weren't to hurt so much as like spread the blood all over the street. It was hitting the spectators too. I saw this one kid, had to be like younger than 10, and his beige-colored t-shirt was covered in these little red flecks of the guy's blood. I asked one of the bystanders what in God's name was going on, and they told me in broken English that it was like they were punishing themselves for their sins or something. I grew up in an Irish neighborhood, lots of Catholics, as you can imagine, and All they did to pay for their sins was go to confession and say a bunch of Hail Marys. He didn't catch anyone asking the neighbors to cut them before whipping themselves, that's for sure. That whole scene was a little too much for me. Like, I wouldn't say I was particularly squeamish or anything, but having a stomach full of food meant that I was dangerously close to puking it all up again, seeing all that blood splattering around the street. I walked off, intent on finding the guy cosplaying as Jesus again, as that was considerably more interesting without being in the least bit nauseating. People were pretty welcoming too, saying stuff like, "Hey Joe," to me all the time, which is like a thing Pinoys say to Americans or white people in general, just like a funny way to say hello. I made a few videos on my phone, and people seemed genuinely happy that a foreigner was so invested in their little procession. It's about then that I asked someone where Jesus and his Roman boys were headed, and someone just replied, "Jesus is going to be crucified." I mean, of course he was. That's how all the passion plays end, so that wasn't exactly a massive surprise to me. I just never figured that the person meant that the cosplay Jesus was about to get literally crucified. If I'd have known that, I'd have never have followed, but in my ignorance, I just kept on going. I remember how we left the open streets and... Hey, Joe. Fry would call me Joe. He'd forget my name. It sounds like a metal band name. Jesus and the Roman Boys. I remember how we left the open streets until we came across this hill, and as we started walking up it, I remember thinking about how legit the whole thing was. They really were reenacting the whole crucifixion thing, taking Jesus out of the town to crucify him on a hill. They even had 2 other guys waiting up there next to their own crosses, but since they weren't actually mounted to them or whatever, I still thought the whole thing was just a play acting. But since they weren't actually mounted to them or whatever, I still thought the whole thing was just play acting. But then, as we got to the top of the hill, and Jesus got laid down on his cross with his arms extended, I watched as one of the Roman soldier guys produced some big nails from a leather pouch that he was carrying. What happened next was like in slow motion, as the whole time I'm thinking, no, don't do it. But he did. The guy lined up the nail with Jesus' palm, then after producing a hammer from somewhere, he started carefully nailing Jesus' hand to the cross. As soon as the first hammer blow came down and blood burst up from cosplay Jesus' hand, I was forced to not just look away, but walk away from the whole thing too. People were just in raptures though, some squirming and grimacing, but others smiling like it was the best thing they'd ever seen. I was just numb for the rest of the afternoon, like I'd never seen anything like that in my whole life up until that point. It was nuts. I mean, I understand why they do it, how that kind of devotion is revered. I mean, it was definitely kind of impressive that the guy would put himself through that kind of punishment just for a cause or whatever. I'd never do it myself. I don't think I'd ever be able to carry the cross up the hill, let alone actually lie still while someone put a freaking nail through my hand. But anyone who's got that kind of determination, nailed him. He really nailed it. But anyone who's got that kind of determination in them, a lot of respect for them, man. Gotta be honest. I ended up asking another Filipino guy back at my hotel what the deal was with the whole crucifixion thing, and he broke it down for me. The guy getting crucified does it about every year, and I don't know how true that is, but apparently he's basically just got scar tissue all through the palm of his hand by that point, and as long as the Roman dudes work the nail through the scar tissue, It barely hurts him anymore. Like I said, I don't know how true that is. Like, surely it's still got to be agony no matter how many times it's happened. But then, if that's the case, that guy is crazy dedicated to his religion. And like I said, even if it is in a real weird way, you kinda gotta respect something as wild as that. Oh shit. Daddy's home push-ups. I forgot about that. What are we on? 24. Holy poop. Let me look. Make sure to get this lined up here. All right, let's do it. Anybody doing it with me? Jacob, you're gonna do some push-ups? Let's go. Who else is doing their various exercise? Sandra Sotelo with the 2 says, I made it. Better late than never. How you doing? I'm doing good. I'm about to get my ass handed to me with some pushy uppies. And believe it or not, today was chest day at the gym. So, you know what? This actually complements it well. The cock push-ups. Yes. Okay. Let's get it. Da-na-na. Da-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Da-da. Let me take my headphones off. They kind of drag. Alright. Fucking hell, mate. Daddy's home. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 24. Fuck this shit, dude. Oh my god. It might have been because... Oh, my... Ouch. Oh, fuck. My tricep cramped up. Oh, my God. Ow, I like can't Fuck, bro. Oh, my God, my triceps, like, cramped up. This is a work hazard. Holy shit, dude. Yeah, ominous music with the push-ups. Oh, fuck. Do the clapping ones. Dude, it was chest day earlier. Oh, Pradeep's, hey, Pradeep's here. He was attracted by the sound of my weakness. Hi, buddy. Ow, I can't even pick him up. My stupid fucking triceps. How do you even stretch triceps?
Mischievous dog.
Anybody know how to stretch triceps? Fuck, dude. Because you can, like... Ow! Fuck. Ow, dude. Oh, my God. Rosa Diaz. Welcome back to the Buttersock cult. My core started spasming at 19 push-ups somehow. Bro, same. Like, I was already tired from earlier. Hanny, you did 24. Let's go. Okay, did 24 push-ups. Strained on the last 4. I'm doing squats next. Gotta work it all. Yeah, hell yeah. Full body action. Does your cat know what you look like? I don't think so. He's never looked at me once. He doesn't have time to make eye contact with a lowly human. Vixo with the tube worker. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'd take a potassium supplement and drink some water. Okay, good idea. Oh yeah, magnesium is something I take before bed. But I do have some electrolyte powder. It was just, all the chest shit today. Oh yeah, and there was tricep stuff too. Which, a lot of those were like drop sets, so they like shit on me a decent amount. You take karate, you have to do push-ups, sit-ups, and squats and so on. Nice, karate's fucking cool, dude. Do you get to break boards or get to break like any cinder blocks? He smelt my weakness. He did. He's still sniffing it. It's oozing out of me. Okay. Sorry. I think I'm okay now. What's my favorite exercises? This one is called like champagnes. It's kind of been nice today. But it's like you have two dumbbells and you hold them tight together. It's a lot easier with ones that are kind of like shaped in like a, you know, octagon, I guess, or like a some sort of geometry shape that can like hold them together easier. But you hold them together in like the close to hold them together and bring it down to your chest, towards the center of your chest, and then you kind of like bring them flat, but then almost like push them like diagonally up in the air, but more towards your face, and it just kind of works out like center chest region. But it's tough, but I don't know, there's something about it that just feels pretty. It's like a nice pump. David with the one says Althea, or he didn't say anything about, sorry. David with the 1, thank you, David. And Althea with the 5 says, pretend there's more zeros here. Twerk because you missed my donut last stream, so I'm going to lap dance small one. Wait, what did I miss last stream? I think I might still have it. It might still show up. I'm sorry if I missed your stream last time. That's weird. I'm going to read it. I'm going to find it. Looks like it last time I missed... No, wait. Oh, I missed, well, it was from 5 days ago. Turner, or is it Turner? Turner Stevenson? I missed $5 from him. I don't remember that one. Oh, yeah, Deadpool Merc. Althea, I don't see you on here for some reason. But I apologize if I missed yours. And I'll definitely twerk real quick. Do I resemble a celebrity? Yeah, have you seen Gilbert Godfrey? But like in the form of the Aflac duck. You find the smell of Paco Rabanne 1 million. Helps everything. What's Paco Rabanne? Is that us? Is it a scent? Twerky the worm. Yeah, Twerky's out there somewhere. Do people ever recognize your voice out in public? Please answer. Please answer. I love when people type please answer. No, they don't, honestly. Like, you guys are literally like my only friends. No, I just, out in public? No, I mean, I sound like this. I don't walk up behind them in their ear and say hello. Would you mind spotting me at the bicep curl machine? It's the best cologne in the world. Okay, I might have to look into that. Are you rolling up on Run right now? Love from the Bay. What are you rolling up on? Please be careful doing that. Murphy, thank you. The bird from Aladdin, yeah. He's just really good at playing avian creatures. True fans can identify your regular voice too. This is true. Out in the wild. Oh god, there's a bot in the chat. Webcams chat. Hot girls and boys video chat. Jesus Christ. Get them out of here, Fry. Ban them, quickly. Ban them! Maribel with the 32 says, I hope that you got your breath again. Time to twerk for the chat. Hope you feel better afterwards. Oh shit. The twerk music didn't kick in. Did I hit it too early? That's weird. Normally it times up with the twerking. I need the music. I need the music. Oh, there it is. Oh. Ooh, yeah. Just got my breath back. Just got my breath. I found it. I found my breath. It's kind of embarrassing that just like that many push-ups, I'm just like out for the count. But Maribel, thank you so much for the $32. Thank you. The twerk loosened me up, brought me back into my game. Why is your fan base 80% women, 20% men? Honestly, I think it's, when I looked at the demographics on YouTube, it's actually 50-50, believe it or not. It might not be represented in the chat as much. Well, I guess it's hard to say, honestly. But it's actually 50-50, which is surprising, you know. I always thought it was more women than men, but it's right down the line. You get tired walking up the stairs. Me too. Stairs are a good workout. I need to use that on the cardio bullshit, the fucking stair machine. But I am back on my bike. I got my bike working, and it's getting nicer out. It was actually like up to 60 today. Ooh, that's hot. Yeah. Ooka. Holy shit, who was that? Ellen Servatius. Thank you for the huge $50 dono. Thank you so much. We're on a twerk train right now. If you had a message, Ellen, it might not have let you put it in when you first put it in, but please do at me or one of the mods and I shall read it. Thank you. Seriously, thank you so much. And Jacob Bowling with the two says, Joel in his Hank Hill voice, God dang it, Dale.
Hey, listen.
God dang it, Dale. Dale. John Redcorn. I'll never forget that time that you got so distracted at the post office when you were on your phone. I'm kidding, don't worry, oh yeah. I was so distracted. And you're like, hello, let's read, get up there. You once climbed Bunker Hill and it just about killed. What's Bunker Hill? I remember when I was in Hawaii the one time, the hiking was crazy, and there was this one where it was like, I don't even know if it was like a man-made hill or what, but basically it was just like these man-made steps that were like steep as fuck going up, but they also had a like a pulley system that would bring, or it was like a little train system, real small, some sort of like, you know, Minecraft minecart bullshit that would bring, I don't know, like munitions and stuff up to the top of the hill. But people would like, I mean, walking up it was freaking tough as shit. Some people were running up it, which is crazy. Please sing Castaways. 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 Ahoy there, ahoy. We are castaways. Okay. So we're moving on. Moving and grooving. Pooping and looving. Ahoy there, ahoy. Is Hawaii a good place for vacation after graduation? What's the stuff there? I mean, pretty much for me, it was like, you got cool, well, we went to Oahu. I think that's the big island. And, you know, it was pretty much just every day was a new beach, or no, a new hiking spot and a new beach. So that was fun. But, other than that, you know, like Hawaii, like aside from the fact that it looks like Jurassic Park, which is cool, and I know that they filmed a lot of stuff, I think, in Hawaii for Jurassic Park, at least some of the scenes and stuff of the island. But other than that, it's pretty much just like the rest of America, where it's just a series of highways connecting various like Pizza Huts and McDonald's and, you know, every other chain restaurant imaginable. It's obviously got a lot of stuff that's like hidden out of sight, but and it's beautiful. But yeah, I mean, it's just as I feel like just as commercialized as you would anticipate. And then I think remember the one tough part was we couldn't go to the other islands because you had to take a plane to get there because they didn't want to interrupt the whale migration patterns by taking a ferry and stuff between. Oh, Oahu is Oahu, Big Island is Big Island. Okay, so maybe we were just on Oahu. I forget. Jurassic fart. I'd only travel by land to Hawaii. I can't. So I remember it was just like weird though, like being in Oahu, and just like you could drive from one end of the island to the other in like 2 hours or something like that, you know. And it just, I don't know. I feel like obviously people grew up places and they get used to that, and that's where they stay. But it was just crazy to think that the distance that we traveled from East Coast to California was like the same distance we traveled from California to Hawaii, you know, on plane. So it's definitely a long plane ride, and I don't know. I remember initially thinking like, oh, if you could be homeless anywhere, just be homeless in Hawaii. But then I'm just like, then I got to Hawaii and I'm like, this is just like any other place. Like if you were homeless, it still would be very sad, even though it's fucking really nice weather or whatever. But those are some very unwise thoughts I had when I was young. Didn't even hit the shory. What's the shory?
Hey, listen.
Mina with the 5 says, sewed up some tiny shorts tonight. Thank you for the sew. Yo, you're welcome. Tiny shorts. They were bought at the tiny store. At Tiny Walmart. In the tiny section. Thank you for the 5. Okay, let's read another. So these ones are going to be true crime. Didn't have a whole lot of like personal stories for Easter this year. Your brother was with the homeless in Hawaii. It's very dangerous. Yeah, because I mean, just like any place, it's like there's issues with drugs, you know, meth, heroin, etc., etc. You know, it's there's sadness everywhere you go. Did I paddle out at the pipe? You will see. I don't have any surfing experience or anything of that nature, if that's what you're referring to. But I do remember going to, I think it was called like North Shore or something like that. One of the big surfing areas for the beach, one of the beaches. And I just remember like getting sucked out so hard by this huge wave, and I couldn't run away from it. It just grabbed me. It just was like, just slowly. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm not moving anywhere. And I'm trying to run away from it. And then it just fucked me up so bad to the point that my like swimsuit almost fell off. And it's just funny. It's like when you get thrown around by a wave, you just go like limp, you know, or you almost like let yourself go limp, because otherwise you could go rigid and fucking break a bone or some shit. But I really do think that even in that close to shore, that shit would have fucking broke me. Jacob with the 5, Joel, if you were in Red Dead Redemption 2, what would you do? Probably just go fishing. Look for Bigfoot. Thank you for the 5, Jacob.
Hey, listen.
Born on January 28th of 1971, Dana Ewell. Shit. Make sure I'm saying this right. It's like Ewell. Ewell. Okay, cool. Yeah, Undertow's very scary. What up, Gabby? Born on January 28th of 1971, Dana Ewell was the youngest son of Dale and Glee Ewell. Dale was a United States Air Force veteran, and upon his discharge, he started a company named Western Piper Sales, which specialized in the sale of small aircraft. Being a highly knowledgeable aviation expert with a set of highly specialized skills, Dale's company became very popular very quickly, and by the time Dana was a young adult, his father's company was worth millions upon millions of And by the time Dana was a young adult, his father's company was worth millions upon millions of dollars. Glee, on the other hand, after working as a Spanish translator for the CIA during the 1950s, had devoted much of her life to... Glee, sorry. Was like, who's Glee? Can you impersonate Henry Kissinger? I don't think so. I don't even know what he sounds like. What instrument does a funk musician utilize? Funk, I imagine funk probably has quite a few instruments. I'm imagining it in my head. Glee, on the other hand, after working as a Spanish translator for the CIA during the 1950s, had devoted much of her life to philanthropy and public service. She had also held a seat on the State Bar of California, an organization which evaluates the credentials of prospective judges. Naturally, she was very well compensated for her work, and this further swelled the Yule family coffers. The Yules accumulated even more wealth off the back of investments in both the stock market and local farmland. Yet despite being extremely well off, the Yules lived a modest lifestyle and tended to avoid flaunting their wealth. By 1992, it's believed the Yules were worth between $7 to $8 million, which is the equivalent to around $14 million today. This meant that the Yules were able to live very comfortably, yet despite their financial stability, all was not well within the family. During Dana Yule's time in college, he began to paint a rather deceptive picture of his own personal finances. Around his junior year, Dana began lying to people that his family's financial success was solely due to his extensive entrepreneurial skills. He told his peers that, despite being so young, he'd set up several prosperous companies that made him a very wealthy man. His lies were even swallowed wholesale by a local newspaper in Santa Clara, who printed a story on Dana in 1990 which described him as a self-made millionaire. However, Dana didn't realize that his parents were closely monitoring his educational progress from afar, and when they stumbled across some of his lies printed in the Santa Clara University's yearbook, they were nothing short of furious. They confronted their arrogant younger child almost immediately, professing their disappointment in his pompous deception. They believed they'd raised him better than that, and decided he needed to be taught a lesson for humanity. They told Dana that they were going to end almost all of their financial support for him, and told him that if he wanted to wax lyrical in his entrepreneurial skills, he'd have to walk the walk, and not just talk the talk. Upon hearing the news, Dale was beyond livid. He was humiliated that his parents had exposed his lies and was incensed that they'd ended his ability to pretend he was some playboy millionaire. Dale didn't talk to his parents for quite a while after that. Due to his dire financial situation, he was soon forced to crawl back to them on bended knee, begging them to let him live in their Fresno home he'd grown up in until he had the means to properly support himself. Dale and Glee were still angry with him, but he was still their son, and they wanted nothing more than to help him get ahead in life. So, they accepted, and in late 1991, they allowed Dana to move back in their home, on the condition that he works towards finding a job and getting his own place. As the months went by, Dana seemed to be doing just that. He not only found himself a girlfriend, but also a job as an investment banking intern. If he managed to prove himself worthy, he'd been on... Oh yeah, sorry, I can ban the sex bots. But they're my girlfriends. JK. Put the hide use. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that shit's so annoying. Like, why do the bots even... Like, why do those bots even exist on here? It's so ridiculous. I feel like no matter where you go, there's just always, like, some fucking degenerate bot somewhere. I'm going to be writing short horror stories on urban legends, and I never realized how many there were out there. I've only known of like 10 ever. Yeah, there's quite a few once you really dig into it. Ashley with the 2 says, the bots, the fembots, get them, Dr. Evil. Oh, behave. Down. Kill these women. Dun 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 dun. Do 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 do. Like, just every time the bots come in, it starts playing that song too. You're like, Jesus Christ. You mean there aren't really hot, lonely singles in your area waiting to meet me? You know, I can't disprove that, but there's certainly not at whatever website that I wanted to drag you to and steal your info. Your info. I'm gonna steal your information. Angel with the 5 says, yo, how goes it? Keep up the awesome work. Thank you, Angel. Thank you. It's going good. We're cruising. Just dealing with some sex robots that always intrude. If he managed to prove himself worthy, he'd have been on a 6-figure salary from the jump, more than enough to start looking for high-end apartments, allowing him to step back into the lifestyle he'd become accustomed to. Slowly but surely, Dana and his parents began to repair the relationship, and soon everything was back to normal, and they seemed to have forgotten his past indiscretions. Around Easter weekend of 1992, the Yules were looking forward to a peaceful, wholesome holiday weekend in the company of their 24-year-old daughter, Tiffany Ann. Dana, on the other hand, had arranged to head off on some kind of staycation with his current girlfriend, and on the day of his departure, he wished his loving family well, then set off to enjoy a romantic, private week of intimacy. Yet even though Dana wished for privacy with his girlfriend, he still made an effort to keep in touch with his parents. Yet according to him, 2 days after Easter Sunday, he found that his calls were no longer being answered. Dana then called some friends in Sunnyside, California, and was said to be incredibly anxious that he couldn't reach his parents. He then told these friends, He then talked these friends into calling over at the Yules. He then talked his friends into stopping by over the Yules family home in order to perform a kind of welfare check, and when they drove over to make sure Dana's parents were okay, what they discovered was beyond horrifying. Dale, Glee, and Tiffany and Yule were all lying dead in various rooms of the house, each with multiple gunshot wounds, and within hours of the friends checking in at the home, Fresno County homicide detectives were on the scene. Over the next 4 days, detectives John Souza and Chris Curtis combed through the crime scene in search of clues. It quickly became obvious that whoever had slaughtered the family had secreted themselves inside the house and had ambushed the unwitting Yule family after returning home from somewhere. Glenn and Tiffany had both been shot once, execution style, suggesting that they had been... Glenn and Tiffany had been shot once, execution style, suggesting they had been completely unaware of their impending deaths. Glee, on the other hand, had been shot 4 times, which made it clear that she had discovered the killer before attempting to flee, forcing them to shoot her multiple times in order to prevent her escape. There was a complete lack of shell casings on the scene, which meant the shooter had taken the time to retrieve them once the job was done, and out of all the bullets he'd fired during the attack, only one seemed to have missed its target. Even more chilling was the fact that the 9mm bullets If you were a ghost and someone was trying to summon you, what 3 things would you need to use to do so? I feel like... Well, you would definitely need to clog your toilet. That's like a guarantee for me. Like, to the point of, like, no repair. It had to be like a really big shit. Even more chilling was the fact that the 9mm bullets used had actually been purchased by Dale Ewell himself, meaning the killer had taken the time to intimately research the Ewell family, even down to what caliber of ammunition was in the house. Using their own ammunition meant that nothing could be traced back to the killer, meaning a very important avenue in investigation had been completely closed off to the investigating detectives. The killer had also used some kind of silencer on the firearm used to murder the Ewells, as not only did none of their neighbors hear any gunshots over Easter weekend, but the lack of bullet penetration meant something had slowed the velocity in flight. The detectives also noticed that the home appeared to have been ransacked, possibly in the search of valuables. But Detective Souza, who had extensive experience in investigating burglaries, observed that very little of value had been taken. He suggested that the ransacking had simply been staged, a way of throwing investigators off the scent of what had actually occurred. In Detective Souza's eyes, all clues pointed in one direction, that a highly professional contract killer had been hired to eliminate the Ewell family. The only question was, who would have the motivation or harbor enough of a grudge to hire such a person? Detective Souza and Curtis then set about analyzing each of the victims' professional and social lives in order to identify possible perpetrators. And that's how they discovered that Dale Ewell wasn't exactly as squeaky clean as he liked to portray himself. In the late 1970s, Dale had gotten involved with a man named Frankie Lamb? I don't know how you say this name. Franca Lamba? Lamby? Galatian, I guess it's Blamby. Franca Lamby. A California-based drug smuggler. Can Pradeep wear hats? You know, he doesn't really like anything on him. He gets very aggressive and throws it off. He goes on rampages wearing a little silly hat. Franca Lamby. In the late 1970s, Dale had gotten involved with a man named Franca Lamby, a California-based drug smuggler who had been sentenced to prison over his illicit activities. Rumor had it that when... Oh, they just added an E accidentally, I see. In the late 1970s, Dale had gotten involved with a man named Frank Lamby, a California-based drug smuggler who had been sentenced to prison over his illicit activities. Rumor had it that when Frank had been locked up, Dale had taken over smuggling operations, and when Frank was released, Dale had refused to step aside, essentially muscling his former partner out of tens of millions of dollars a year. This would most definitely provide a motive for murder, and with Frank already having rubbed shoulders with criminals while in jail, there was no doubt that he had the contacts to get the job done. Yet that wasn't the only dodgy dealing that Dale Ewell had been involved in, as he'd also ended up entangled in a shady real estate development deal with his own brother. When Dale backed out and the deal went sour, his brother was blamed for losing When Dale backed out and the deal went sour, his brother was blamed for losing millions of dollars of investment money, and while it seemed over the top for there to be a blood feud among family members, stranger things have certainly happened. When law enforcement sought to determine if the family had any potential enemies, one of the first people they got in contact with was obviously Dana Ewell. Dana had a solid alibi, as he had obviously been in San Francisco with his girlfriend, but for the homicide detectives, the fact that he just so happened to be absent on the weekend of the murder was far too suspicious for them to ignore. Detectives had also been in touch with Dana's uncle who told him that Dana seemed far more interested in what his inheritance was than the fact that he just lost his entire family. He also added that when Dana learned the majority of his inheritance was in a trust fund that he wouldn't have access until his 30s, he became visibly shaken and angry. It was also noted that one of Dana's old college buddies, a man by the name of Joel Radovich, had suddenly dropped out of school in the aftermath of the murders before going on something of a spending spree. The police decided to observe Joel's movements and lifestyle from a distance, and in the process, they discovered something extremely pertinent to their investigation. Joel was obsessed with the use and maintenance of firearms, and was often heard to brag about his accuracy with them. Not only that, but Joel claimed to have several close acquaintances that he was capable of creating homemade silencers using nothing but pieces of metal pipe. Dana and Joel continued to attract suspicion when they both moved into... This Joel guy sounds pretty innocent in my mind. Dana and Joel continued to attract suspicion when they both moved in the Yule's Fresno home just weeks after the murders. Any other person might be repulsed by the idea of laying their heads where their own family had been slain, yet Dana didn't seem to mind in the least bit. They also seemed to adopt something of a party lifestyle, buying brand new pagers and other electrical equipment, as well as drinking an unusual amount of champagne for people who ought to be grieving a loss. Joel even bought himself a set of flying lessons, which definitely set him back a sizable amount of money. Police had already confirmed that Joel was unemployed, and it was clear that No, Joel has a YouTube channel, guys. Joel, do you ever read about other Joels and wonder what life they live? Oh, yeah. See, I've never met a Joel I didn't like, so I just automatically have to assume that this Joel in this story is probably just in the wrong place at the wrong time, making, it just so happens to be able to make homemade silencers, whatever, big deal. What, doesn't everybody know how to make that kind of stuff? Come on. So, most likely, he's just kind of in a bit of a pickle here, just hanging out with the wrong crowd. Sometimes Joels are prone to that, but I'm sure he'll prove his innocence very soon. Just you wait. Police had already confirmed that Joel was unemployed, and it was clear that Dana was funding his lifestyle. But why exactly would he be doing that? It could have been out of kindness. It could have... Hey, the Hawk is here. What up, Hawk? It could have been out of the kindness of his heart, but homicide detectives believe there was another, far more sinister reason for it, and they were determined to unearth what it was. All throughout May of 1993, the cops kept Dana and Joel under close surveillance, and at one point, a detective followed Patrick to a payphone while wearing a specialized piece of recording equipment. It was then the detective managed to catch Joel saying something very suspicious into the payphone, most probably to Dana. He was quoted as saying, he was quoting as... Oh. He was quoted as saying, "Look, man, they don't have any evidence, okay? What they're probably going to do is try and catch you in a lie. So just keep your mouth shut, and we'll both be fine." With that, the detectives knew for certain who they should focus their investigation on, convinced that if they dug deep enough, that Joel would somehow be intrinsically connected to the murders. This connection was finally identified when law enforcement began to focus on identifying the murder weapon. After a thorough analysis of the bullets recovered from the dead bodies of the Yule family, it was determined that they were fired by a high-end 9mm specialty rifle manufactured by Feather Industries in Trinidad, Colorado. Company records showed one such rifle had been purchased by Ernest Jack Ponce, a friend of Joel's family, just weeks before the Yules were shot with it. Jack Ponce admitted buying the rifle for Joel, but was horrified when he discovered it was used in the murders. Jack knew that Joel was a huge firearm enthusiast, but believed he only wanted the rifle for target and competitive shooting. He told police that despite unwittingly disposing of evidence, he had no idea that Joel was planning on killing anyone, and offered his full and unfettered cooperation in testifying against the two men. With a star witness in the bag, the police swooped in, arresting both Dana Yule and Joel Radovich. Am I saying this wrong? Is that a last name? Oh, wait, I think it might just be spelled slightly wrong. Whatever. Oh no. We're getting bombarded by sex bots again. Doom 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 doom. Do 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 do. Okay, they're gone. Sex bots are back. Soon in the future, when we all live in the metaverse and we're all like mingling throughout, that would be interesting. Like imagine that, like being in VR, but like being in an auditorium full of like, I wonder if they could do that in like a VR game, like thousands of people just like sitting in an auditorium, like maybe they're talking and stuff, but then there's someone like up on stage with like a microphone or something. That would be really cool. I guess you could just do that in real life, maybe. Might be easier. Joe, other than yourself, who do you like to listen to for horror stories? Well, I don't really listen to horror stories too much, but I mean, there's a ton of really good ones out there. Who do you guys like? With a star witness in the bag, the police swooped in, arresting both Dana Yule and Joel Radovich in early 1995. Throughout the course of their 8-month trial, they were up against two of Fresno County's top district attorneys, who each argued that Dana Yule was a despicable human being, motivated only by greed, who was willing to swap his own family's lives to indulge in a selfish, hedonistic lifestyle. Not only that, but he actually convinced someone equally psychopathic to do the killing for him. Dana's attorney opted to shift the blame onto Joel, making it seem like he intimidated his old college buddy into splitting his inheritance with him. Joel's attorney, on the other hand, believed the evidence was so overwhelming that a guilty verdict was probable, and thus his main goal should be avoiding the death penalty. After 11 days of deliberation, the jury found both Dana and Joel to be guilty of 3 counts of first-degree murder. Not only that, but they were subject to considerably stricter sentences based on the fact that the murders were purely for financial gain. Yet somehow, both managed to avoid the death penalty. July 20th of 1998 saw each of the men handed life sentences without the possibility of parole, and despite several appeals being lodged on their behalf, all have been denied. It's worth noting that for the majority of his sentence, Dana Yule had been detained in the protective housing unit of the California State Prison. This is due to the particularly greedy and immoral nature of his crime, and the fact that he had his own family murdered purely for monetary gain, when he was already in an extremely privileged position in life. This has naturally made him extremely unpopular with other prisoners, and he was regularly Oh no, they're back again, dude. Doon 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 boot doo 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 doo. The sex bots have returned, they are here. Which one is closest to narrating like Let's Read does? People say I sound a lot like Your Maker. So if you is spelled URMAKER. People say that me and him sound similar. I don't really hear it, but that's what I literally get that comment like quite often. This has naturally made him extremely unpopular with other prisoners, and he was regularly targeted for reprisal by those that are disgusted by his cruel and callous nature. Consider how abhorrent a person has to be singled out by other criminals as being worthy of punishment. But then again, a person who had their own parents killed, the very people who brought them into the world, loved them, and nurtured them, it's hard to imagine a punishment for them that could be described as too harsh. Oh, wait, whoops. But then again, a person who had their own parents killed on Easter, the very people who brought them into the world, loved them, and nurtured them, it's hard to imagine a punishment for them that could be described as too harsh. Wait, where's the chat? Oh, it's like not... Oh my god, the sex bots crashed the chat on my end. That's silly. Silly sex bots. You're at it again. Here, I gotta reopen the chat, sorry. Dun 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 dun. Poop out chat. There we go. We can close that. We're Gucci. Am I your maker? Yes. And you have just met him. Get the Let's Read voice on. Hey Google. Hey Alexa. I do like saying that just to mess with anybody who has it in their home. Hey Google. Hey Alexa. Play Despacito. The sexy version. Alright, the Yule. Okay. I'm fairly certain. I mean, I know we have, like, Robin just sent me something that had some, like, crazy, like, voice AI. Like, where someone could call and sound exactly like Morgan Freeman. Just doing their normal voice, but it was, like, coming out on the other end as Morgan Freeman. It was insane. Sandra Sotelo with the 5 says, can you or anyone in the chat give me some advice on creating a gym routine? Like, how do you know when is leg, back, ab, cardio day? I'm a total beginner. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I would definitely try not to do it on your own. At least try to, like, look for someone to help you do it, like help you program it, and then, like, take you through a few weeks or a few sessions of doing it. You know, I would say maybe like 3 days a week or something like that for lifting. But I'm sure other people can, you know, speak on that or whatever. But if anybody in there, like, writes programs, but also just be careful, you know, obviously don't get scammed on something. Ashley with the 5 says, good night everyone, thanks for the date. Don't call me, I'll call you. Well, thank you, Ashley. It makes it easier. My Alexa just asked, what do you want me to play in response to you? Oh, that's hilarious. Did he play Despacito? Despacito. Drink mass gainer, take creatine. Yeah, I mean, that sounds like what every high schooler does starting out. What's the app for the stories? The Chilling app? Is that what you're thinking of? The Chilling app. chilling. Hey Alexa, play WAP by Cardi B. Althea with the two says, Joel, say, hey Alexa in my house. Oh, I just did. Nice, perfect timing. Thank you for the two. Scare me, what's poppin', dude? Can you do a Morgan Freeman impression? I suppose I could. You see, this is Morgan Freeman. Wait, does that sound like him? Morgan Freeman. It would appear as if though not many. The poop that took a pee.
Hey, listen.
That once was a poop that took a pee. It was a long, stringy poop. Am I familiar with the Chris Watts case? I don't know. Look up the lyrics of Despacito, then put it in Google Translate and read it in English. That sounds complicated. Can you do
Jay, you do it, Jay Leno. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I guess, welcome to my show. Our next guest is going to be literally Sasquatch. Yeah, I guess. He's going to be real hairy, I suppose.
I don't know. I have a vague idea of what those people sound like in my head, and I sound like Sean Connery. Yeah. More like... Yeah, fuck. Joel loves WAP. Wet ass prostate. My favorite voice is Beetlejuice. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Know what I mean? You can claim 100 victory over blueberry pie and ice cream. No need to thank me. You're welcome. Oh, thank you, Hawk. SJ Curtis with the 2 says, can you be Canadian for 5 minutes? I mean, I guess so, but I feel like I sound more like, somebody from North Dakota, But those hosers over there, they always try to give me trouble. They're always on it's just some freaking nonsense, you know what I mean? It is what it is. You live to see another day, and we keep trucking on, eh? I don't know. I'm Canadian, don't ask me to say out and about. Oot and the boot. We were oot and the boot. Just read it in English, you're gonna wonder why the most popular song ever. Does it say very inappropriate things? You never heard me in my normal voice. Well, welcome to the dojo. Sounds like Minnesota. Yeah, it does. Pittsburgh accent? I have no idea, honestly. South African. I don't even know, dude. All the nuanced stuff. It would be fun to learn those, honestly. To actually, try. But I feel like this is just, shitty things that I've learned over the course of, How many videos did it take before you noticed some big growth? I don't really think it comes down to videos. I think it comes down to capitalizing on trends, you know what I mean? So I was I was fortunate to capitalize on the true scary stories trend and that kind of thing. But now that that's kind of it's not that it's died down, it's just that the audience members have kind of settled on where they want to be. And you do, start to find people as time goes on, but I just don't think it's as pushed out by YouTube as it was whenever Mr. Nightmare was popping. Do a Texas accent. Come on, god dang it, Bobby. I don't know, honestly. Do you ever wonder what your voices sound like?
All your voices probably sound very squeaky. And, as if though you're waiting for someone to hand you a kiwi fruit.
Back in 1943, on the Saturday before Easter Sunday, 55-year-old Patrick Brady arrived back home from his 8-hour shift at the Inland Steel Company in Lansing, Illinois. He lived on the 181st Street on 100. He lived on 181st Street with his 14-year-old foster daughter, Gloria Sullivan, who at the time was in the Calvin Coolidge School's 8th grade. Patrick had a tough job, and he worked hard to keep his foster daughter happy, but thanks to his back-breaking... What? Oh, back-breaking, okay. Lip lube like a boss. I'm trying, dude. Trying to remember, keep up on it, but thank you for reminding me. You'd love to go to prison? Why would you ever want to go to prison? It sounds like a bad idea, brother. Patrick had a tough job, and he worked hard to keep his foster daughter happy. But thanks to his back-breaking, tireless endeavors, he had carved out a relatively happy existence taking care of young Gloria. They were poor, they were struggling, but they were content. Yet as soon as Patrick arrived home that day, he knew something was horribly, horribly wrong. The first thing he noticed was a loud, blaring sound coming from inside his home, and when he walked inside, he realized the cause was the radio that they kept in the house's living room. He walked into the room, shut off the radio, then immediately called out to Gloria, but there was no answer. This immediately struck him as unusual. Gloria should have been home from school hours ago, and Patrick operated a strict policy whereby she had to tell him if she was leaving the house. He then realized that she may have walked down to one of the local stores to pick up some groceries for herself. Patrick couldn't always be there to cook due to his long working hours, and he often left Gloria a few dollars so that she could feed herself. If that was the case, she would have left a note on the kitchen table for him. Yet when he walked into the kitchen, he was greeted by a sight that scarred him for the rest of his days. Gloria was lying on the kitchen floor, a huge pool of her blood collecting on the linoleum beneath her. She was fully clothed, with curlers in her hair, and she was dead, with the manner of her death being nothing short of a living nightmare. Gloria Sullivan had been stabbed exactly 20 times, with 14 deep wounds to her back, 5 wounds to her chest, with the coup de grace. Jacob with the 5 says, could you do a Sean impression from Red Dead Redemption? Sean, I don't remember who Sean is, to be honest with you. Is he the Irish guy, or was he from the Pinkertons who got like his head blown off? I forget.
Hey, listen.
Gloria Sullivan had been stabbed exactly 20 times, with 14 deep wounds to her back, 5 to her chest, with the worst being a stab wound to the base of her throat. There was also a series of defensive wounds on Gloria's arms and hands, meaning that she had tried to fend off her attacker during what had been a brutal and sustained attack involving 2 separate murder weapons. One was a smaller paring knife that was found broken off the handle, with the blade being discovered wedged in a crack in the kitchen's hardwood floor. The other, a long-bladed butcher's knife, was found lying nearby, drenched in Gloria's blood. Upon inspection, Patrick confirmed that both knives had been taken from the home's kitchen. They were knives... Oh, I see. Kiara McCourt with the 10. Thank you, my friend. How are you doing? 2 cups, 1 girl. Oh man, is that the sequel? The other long-bladed butcher's knife was found nearby upon inspection.
Hey, listen.
But yeah, thank you again, Kiara. If you have a message, please do at me and let me know. And SJ Curtis with the 2 says, any interest in ghost hunting? You know, it sounds interesting, but... And I might go along, honestly. But man, that sounds terrifying, to be honest with you. I feel like the whole time I'd just be like, I shouldn't be here, I shouldn't be here, I shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm brave enough. Upon inspection, Patrick confirmed that both knives had been taken from the home's kitchen. They were knives he paid for out of his own hard-earned salary, and they had been used to end his own foster daughter's life. There were no signs of robbery, and other than the horrific scene in the kitchen, the remainder of the home was in near immaculate order. There were no signs of forced entry and no signs of pursuit through the home. It seemed as if the Gloria had been subjected to a very effective and very terrifying ambush by someone who had been watching her for quite some time. When it came to evidence the police could use in their investigation, Their turn. Oh, you went ghost hunting and got an attachment. It was horrible. See, that's what I'm worried about. Like, you go ghost hunting and then all of a sudden you bring something home with you, and I don't want that at all. Fuck that shit. That's like how they should make a movie about that. I mean, the shows aren't very scary to me, but I know if I was there, I'd be like, please, I'm going to shit my pants. When it came to evidence the police could use in their investigation, there turned out to be quite a lot for them to go on. Aside from the obvious murder weapons, law enforcement located a bloody palm print next to the bathroom wash basin, and they also noticed something curious about Gloria's hairbrush. Although the girl herself was a brunette, the cops found a series of long blonde hairs tangled up in the bristles. They also found a series of blood-stained towels in the bathroom, obviously from where the killer had cleaned themselves off before escaping the house. After that, it was just a case of identifying possible suspects, yet unfortunately they proved far easier. What scares me? Just bears, sharks, the New York Mets. You're getting sleepy. After that, it was just a case of identifying possible suspects, yet unfortunately, that proved far easier said than done. Investigators also learned that around the time of her 4th birthday, Gloria and her sister had been placed in the care of the state. Their biological father, Clarence Sullivan, had suddenly abandoned his young family one day, which had left the girl's mother, Viola? Viola? That's an interesting name. Wait. Viola. Would you guys name your daughter Viola? Their biological father, Clarence Sullivan, had suddenly abandoned his young family one day, which had left the girl's mother, Viola, to care for the children on her own. Tragically, Viola found herself financially and emotionally incompatible. Tragically, Viola found herself financially and emotionally incapable of caring for the children, and they were eventually placed in the state's care. Then, just a few weeks after they were taken, Viola passed away in what can only be described as mysterious circumstances. Patrick Brady and his wife took Gloria into their care in 1935, but were unable to legally adopt her because they were unable to locate her sister Clarence, which, at the time, was a precondition for adopting children of that age. Yet that didn't stop the Bradys from caring for Gloria as if she was their biological daughter. And, as we previously touched on, the family managed to carve out something of a peaceful existence for themselves despite all the tragedies of the past. Yet as the years went by. Yeah, it's been a sex-bot-free zone for a little while. Yet as the years went by, tragedy would once again visit the family as, in 1941, Patrick's wife would pass away after a painful and protracted battle with cancer. Following her death, Gloria was forced to step up and take on the role of homemaker, which arguably took away what little of her childhood she had left. Despite that, she was said to have excelled at school and became a pillar of the community by helping out with the child-rearing duties of neighboring families. In light of that, news of her brutal murder rocked the local community, and the furious outcry prompted law enforcement to conduct a rapid and thorough investigation. The town of Lansing spared no expense, essentially giving the police department a blank check to fund their investigation. They wanted justice, but whether or not they would see any remained to be seen. Homicide detectives began by building up a detailed picture of the hours which preceded Gloria's murder. After Patrick had departed for work at around 8 a.m., Gloria had called a school friend to ask if she wanted to go shopping for new Easter outfits in nearby Hammond, Indiana. This school friend traveled over to the Brady's place just in time to see a local delivery man dropping off some laundry, and naturally, this man quickly became a suspect in Gloria's murder. However, when 37-year-old Howard Dozier was questioned in relation... I gotta make sure it's Dozier. I don't know how to say this one. And Kiera McCourt with the 5 says, you should visit Pennhurst in October. I was there when it was totally closed and it's creepy as hell. Pennhurst? Where's that? Oh, shit. Ooh, Oh my god, D-Shore came out of nowhere with that one. With the 3511. Thank you. D-Shore, why are your donations always some, like, abstract numbers? I feel like you're having me cast some sort of spell by saying those arbitrary numbers. But thank you so much for the 35. I really appreciate it. And thank you again, Kiara. Yeah, Pennhurst in October. Where the heck is that at? Pennhurst Asylum is nearish Philly, because I went to an asylum in Philadelphia, but or like a penitentiary or something like that. But it was like a haunted walkthrough. Not necessarily haunted, but it was like a walkthrough, like an attraction. I think I went there back in like 2016 or something like that. Maybe after that. It's in Spring City. Okay. You gotta do an abstract number for it to work. Philly is the side of PA that is complete mystery to me. Or Philadelphia? Money exchange rate differences? Oh, maybe, perhaps. But usually it like shows it if it's a different currency. Blech. Philly cheese. Haunted Philly cheesesteak. Oh, that's Eastern State. Okay, interesting. Dozier. Dozier. Okay, Howard Dozier. However, when 37-year-old Howard Dozier was questioned in relation to her murder, police were soon forced to clear him of all suspicion. Howard had stuck to a strict delivery route that day and had a number of alibis that made it impossible for him to have been in the area at the time of the slaying. The magazine salesman was also questioned by police after the Brady's neighbors informed them that they had spotted him in the area at the time of Gloria. Rosa, see you later. A magazine salesman was also questioned by police after the Brady's neighbors informed them that they had spotted him in the area at the time Gloria was murdered. Yet he too was released after establishing a solid alibi. A bunch of Gloria's school friends were also questioned in connection with her death, but only one could provide any helpful clues as to the identity of her killer. Gloria's friend claimed she had checked over at the house at around 10:20, but when she attempted to enter the home, she found the screen door was locked. She knocked almost continually for around 5 to 10 minutes, but no one came to the door. When asked, the friend said that she hadn't heard the sound of the radio blaring, but the little detail about the locked screen door was nothing short of chilling to the investigators. When Patrick had returned home, it had been unlocked, meaning there was a high probability that at the same time Gloria's friend had stopped over, Gloria was in the process of being murdered, just feet away from her. As the list of potential suspects grew shorter and shorter, police made a general appeal to the public for any and all assistance they might be able to offer. That's when one credible witness came forward, claiming to have seen 50-year-old Clarence Sullivan, Gloria's estranged biological father, riding on a local bus right around the time of the murder. The thought of a biological father murdering his own daughter was almost too horrifying to bear, but he still needed to be eliminated as a potential suspect. Yet this proved difficult as law enforcement efforts to track him down were fruitless. Even Gloria's sister, who by then was a 21-year-old, Yet this proved difficult, as law enforcement efforts to track him down were fruitless. Even Gloria's sister, who by then was a 20-year-old telephone operator in Chicago, had no idea where her father was, and claimed they hadn't spoken since he'd walked out on the family back in the 30s. Clarence, who investigators once named as their prime suspect, was never ever tracked down, and in early what? Legally dead in absentia. It says, and in early blank, he was declared legally dead in Interesting. Absentia. Clarence, who investigators once named as their prime suspect, was never ever tracked down, and he was declared legally dead in absentia. In absentia, okay. Clarence, who investigators once named as their prime suspect, was never ever tracked down, and eventually he was declared legally dead in absentia. Police then recovered Gloria's diary from her bedroom, and during an analysis of the entries, found that someone had apparently tried to flirt with Gloria in the previous days. What? Oh, the sex bots are back again. The boys are back in town, the boys are back in town, sex bots are back in town, yeah. Such a silly, names of their profiles, too. It's really funny. Police then recovered Gloria's diary from her bedroom, and during an analysis of the entries, found that someone had apparently tried to flirt with Gloria in the previous few days, and that the incident had made the young girl feel deeply uncomfortable. Yet frustratingly, Gloria had neglected to include a name for the man, nor had she added any kind of written description. This left law enforcement in the painful position of knowing exactly who their murderer might have been, while being completely unable to identify them. Sadly, even though a heavily funded police department had once promised swift justice for Gloria's murder, the case eventually went cold. Patrick Brady, having lost the one remaining member of his family, fell into a deep depression, and over the years that followed, he regularly visited the local police department to check if there was any progress in the investigation. 4 years after Gloria's murder, when Patrick dropped dead from a catastrophic heart attack, those who knew him blamed the stress of his foster daughter's murder for his death. Patrick died the same day Gloria did, and they said it was just a matter of time before it caught up with him. Gloria was laid to rest on April 7th at St. Mary's Catholic Cemetery in Lansing. A crowd of almost 100 of her fellow students, neighbors, and family members all attended the funeral, and apart from the obvious inscriptions, Patrick wished just one word to be chiseled into the stone: daughter. Patrick could never have known that just 4 years later he would be laid to rest in the plot next to it, but it seems only fitting that he should spend the rest of eternity next to the young woman that he had once cared for so deeply. 80 years later, Gloria's murder is no closer to being solved than it was a month after her life was snuffed out by the cruel and callous actions of a pure predator. And it's more than likely that her killing will remain a terrifying and confounding mystery until the end of time itself. S.J. Curtis with the 2 says, do you have music you love when feeling down? Yeah, but it's like I don't want the music to be downer music, you know what I mean? Like I was in the gym earlier, and like these one people at the gym, like they work their asses off, but they always play this like I'm drinking, like it's like buzz ballads, you know, from the 90s, like alternative rock from like the 90s that literally just sounds like I just got back, you know, home from being, I don't know, we'll say Vietnam. And like and you're drinking just a fifth of bourbon and you're just like wallowing in your woes, but like people are trying to do that while working out. Like how the fuck, like that doesn't give you any energy at all. It's just, I don't know, I don't like sad music, honestly. I'll listen to it, but I'm just not a fan of feeling sad anymore. It's silly. It's a silly feeling. And it's crazy. Like music really does have like a huge effect on my like, just on everything, you know? If the first song I hear that day is like negative, it's like I just exist in that energy field. If it's positive, I exist in, you know, it's just like so influential. It's crazy. Like whoever discovered music is a goddamn deity in my mind. Alright, this is the last story tonight. Tool is workout music. I don't know if Tool is, honestly. Like that's kind of like some of the stuff that they listen to, but I mean, Tool might be good at certain points for heavy lifting stuff, or like for 1 rep stuff, but I would need a little bit more energy. What is it? Volbeat is great music for the gym. I've never heard of Volbeat. It sounds like Vor. I feel like I'm getting baited to look up Vor. S.J. Curtis with the 5 says Law. Like, I like every rose has its thorns. Sounds terrible to work out to. Wait, like every rose has, well, it's even, yeah, but like imagine like the pinnacle of like depression grunge in the 90s, and like you'll, like every rose has its thorn. I feel like that's from like 80s, isn't it? But this shit is just like the stuff that was specifically made to like, you know, create a mass psychosis of depression on the entire population via MTV. You know what I mean? And the radio. Volbeat is awesome. They're sort of rockabilly, and the vocalist is amazing. Okay, interesting. This one suggested artist came up that I really liked the vibe to. It was called Pink Panthers. Did I tell you guys about that last time? I'm not sure, but I heard them, And I really just like that vibe. Like it's like that mixture of like liquid DMB, like drum and bass stuff, but with like sort of the poppy vibe of like Grimes, I guess, and that kind of thing. Is I don't know, it's like a cool, unique sound. You sound like Bret Michaels. Every rose has a thorn. Every rose. Bullbeat's a European thing? I don't know. You divorced your 2 dumbbells? What are you doing? Get back together with them. Joel, you're amazing. Thanks. I mean, I just heard it recently. It was popped up on my YouTube music thing, and I was like, this is pretty boppy. You'll dig my music posts on Twitter. Yeah, I feel like nobody posts any music on Twitter. They all just like post their dumb ideas. Like, shut up. Stop saying words and start posting entertainment, for fuck's sake. I'm having a bad day. Okay. Well, I don't care. I want to listen to cool jams. On April Fool's Day of 1988, just 2 days before Easter Sunday, the city... Wait, what? Wait. April Fool's Day is April 1st, right? I gotta look into this. Like, the Easter Sunday 1988. Oh wow, it was April 3rd. Wait, what? I thought Easter was like the last or the third Sunday in April, right? Am I wrong? Did they change it? Twitter is the sewer of the internet. Yeah, I'm really confused. Like, Elon Musk like bought like 9% of Twitter. What does that mean? You know what I mean? Like, what is his goal with that, you know? Okay, yeah, April 1st is Easter moves. Really? Easter has fallen on April Fool's Day? Oh, that'd be interesting. Wait, really? I thought it was supposed to be the third Easter. Third Sunday. Oh. Easter gets around. Easter is like 2 weeks, right? Oh, I thought it was just like... I thought Easter Sunday. No, yeah, Easter Sunday. Easter switches days every year, kind of like your birth. Well, I understand that, but like, I mean, you would imagine if you have April Fools... When's Easter this year? If you have April Fool's, April 1st, right? And then you wouldn't imagine it would be anywhere close to like the 1st of April, like if it was the third Sunday. Because how would they even be able to fit all those Sundays in the period of time? That's really weird. Easter Sunday 20... Svanti is 22, April 17th. See, that makes more sense. It is April 17th this year, which means it's not this Sunday, but the Sunday after that is Easter. So be ready to get your mom flowers or some shit, or grandma or something, or your wife, or your anybody. Literally just pick a flower out of the dirt and give it to somebody. Easter moves def happen in March. What the fuck? This is where I'm talking like the Berenstein Bears bullshit, like the Mandela effect, or like you guys were mentioning the timeline changes earlier. This is where things went to hell. When Easter. Why do I even care? I'll figure it out later, but it just makes no sense in my head for some reason. Easter is based on the religious calendar, which isn't 365 days. Oh. I swear to God, I thought it was just like arbitrarily like the third Sunday of Chungus. You may be thinking of Thanksgiving. That is the third Thursday. Maybe I get it fucking mixed up. Well, yeah, where's the turkey? Oh, or don't we eat stuffing out of a rabbit's ass? I don't know. When I fact check my stories, yeah. But the question is, who fact checks? The fact checkers. On April Fool's Day of 1988, just 2 days before Easter Sunday, the city of Fort Wayne, Indiana, was the site of one of the most frightening and unsettling murders in American history. Of all the true crime stories this channel has covered, many are infamous for their brutal and terrifying nature, but few have disturbed me as thoroughly and absolutely as the abduction and murder of April Tinsley. On Friday, April 1st of 1988, 8-year-old April Tinsley arrived home from school and asked her mother if she could go over to play at a friend's house. Her mother agreed and gave April a bag of Easter candy to share once she'd arrived. We know that April arrived at this friend's house safely, but once she was there, the heavens opened up and a torrential downpour began to soak the Fort Wayne streets. Okay, I feel like if ever there was a trigger warning, the beginning of that video or beginning of that story is definitively a trigger warning. So, heads up. We know that April arrived at their... Whoops. We know that April arrived at this friend's house safely, but once she was there, the heavens opened up, and a torrential downpour began to soak the Fort Wayne. Why is it hard to say? We know that April arrived at this friend's house safely, but once she was there, the heavens opened up, and a torrential downpour began to soak the Fort Wayne wet. Why do I have a speech impediment reading this fucking shit? Oh my god. I don't know where it came from. Easter is celebrated on the first Sunday following the full moon that occurs on or just after the spring equinox. In our Gregorian calendar, there are 35 dates on which Easter can take place. Interesting. So you're telling me it has nothing to do with a giant Easter bunny? It has to do with the moon cycles. That sounds a little scary. That is kind of weird that, like, at some point during the history of, like, whatever, I don't know, the character of Jesus being crucified, or the historical person, or the God person, who knows? I don't fucking know. Anyways, but, like, at some point, they just, like, integrated that with, like, a moon holiday. And they're like, yeah, we're just gonna mix them together. Also, there's bunnies and chocolate. Anthony with the 5 says, please don't tell me you're reading your head and you will not want to... Wait, please don't tell me you're reading your head and you will not want to read the story. What? Please don't tell me that you're reading your head and you will not want to read the story. What do you mean? Is there an official Butterstock Day? Yeah, we have to figure out our moon cycles. We have to synchronize everybody's goop. Oh, reading ahead. Oh no, I wasn't reading ahead. It was just like in the story, the way that they had written it was essentially indicating I'm reading the head. I'm doing some braille. Feeling around a bit. No, it's just like in the beginning of the story, it like did a trigger warning. It doesn't mean I'm not going to read it. I'm just I have a moon cycle? Whoa, thanks. Whoa, what's my moon cycle? Anthony Esposito with a 2 says, voice text, read the story. Okay, I can do that. Voice text. I'm confused, man. But thank you for the 2. And hello. Most of Christianity was taken from other older religions that came before it.
Hey, listen.
Interesting. I think he's speaking his messages into his phone with voice to text or whatever. But Joel, you're a Gemini, which means you're true. We know that April arrived at this friend's house safely, but once she was there, the heavens opened up and a torrential downpour began to soak the Fort Wayne. Fort Wayne. I don't know why in my brain when I get to that point it's almost like Fort Warn. Like I just like get pulled, like my lips and my mouth have a aneurysm. Okay. We know that April arrived at this friend's house safely, but once she was there, the heavens opened up and a torrential downpour began to soak the Fort Wayne streets. Can I just say it like not like a robot once? We know that... Why are Reese's shaped like eggs or footballs or Christmas trees so much better than the regular ones? I know, yeah, they're like softer. Oh my god. That's a great idea. They need to make Reese's soft edges. Like there's those rigid edges, and they're not bad, obviously, but they don't really like soak in your mouth. Anthony with the 5 says, I was voice texting and obviously my accent on this phone is not well cooperated. Oh, okay, no worries. But thank you, my friend. It's good to see you. Okay, let me just read it real quick. And a torrential downpour began to soak the Fort Wayne streets. And a torrential downpour began to soak the Fort Wayne streets. Fort Wayne streets. We know that April arrived at his... We know that April arrived at this friend's house safely, but once she was there, the heavens opened up and a torrential downpour began to soak the Fort Wayne streets. Once the rain cleared up a little, the 2 friends suddenly wished to play outside, but knowing she'd been soaked through in no time if she did, April decided to walk over to a second friend's house to retrieve an umbrella she'd left there in the days prior. When April walked out of the door, she told her friend that she'd return soon, possibly even with this second friend so she could join in the fun with them. But April was never seen again. Once her loved ones realized that she was missing, they scoured the streets of their south-central Fort Wayne neighborhood, but April was nowhere to be found. They quickly alerted the local authorities, and this prompted both police and volunteers to conduct a massive, immediate search. To their horror, one witness reported seeing a Caucasian male in his mid-30s dragging a terrified April into a blue pickup truck, but this report proved fruitless as no such vehicle was located in the immediate aftermath. Both the police and April's parents took part in several widely publicized appeals for information, but no one else came forward with any pertinent particulars. Then, just 3 days later, April's parents received the worst news imaginable. The news that every parent prays they never hear. They were told their daughter had been murdered. April's cold, lifeless body was discovered at the bottom of a ditch along the rural DeKalb. DeKalb? How do you even say it? DeKalb. The rural DeKalb. Oh, DeKalb. DeKalb, okay. Dude, Forvo is such a fucking sweet website. They deserve $1 million. What happened to the person keeping track of Joel's mistakes? Yeah, did Vixa fall asleep? Oh, there she is. 65. April's cold, lifeless body was discovered at the bottom of a ditch along the rural DeKalb County road. She had been dead for around 48 to... Pertinent particulars. Yeah, that sounds like a Jeopardy topic. April's cold, lifeless body was discovered at the bottom of a ditch along the rural DeKalb County road. She had been dead for around 48 to 60 hours, meaning she'd been murdered just hours after being kidnapped. Although she was discovered wearing all of the clothes she had disappeared in, the subsequent autopsy revealed that she had been violated before being suffocated, possibly with some kind of rag or piece of cloth. Yet even more disturbing was the fact that an adult material aid... What? Adult marital... What? Oh, yikes, okay. Oh, God. Yet even more disturbing was the fact that an adult marital aid was discovered not far from her body, one that was said to have April's DNA on it. The police managed to recover some of the supposed murderer's DNA from April's body, and coupled with the possible suspect description that had already... The police managed to recover some of the supposed murderer's DNA from April's... I'm getting to the fucking end. God damn it. My brain is broken. Dude, imagine if I had to do like those... I was curious, like, you know, like Being Scared has like 3-hour-long videos. I've always been curious if he like ever just does a day where he records all of those. I feel like I'd go insane in one day just recording for that long. Brian with the 2 says, always listen to your stories on my 1 hour to work. Oh, thank you, Brian. Well, I appreciate you allowing me to join you.
Hey, listen.
Oh my god. Oh shit. 69 mistakes. What the fuck? The police managed to recover some of the supposed murderer's DNA from April's body, and coupled with the possible suspect description that they had already received, it seemed that it was just a matter of time before the killer was located and arrested.
Hey, listen.
Yet somehow, even with all the evidence and manpower law enforcement had at their disposal, the case went cold, and no arrests were ever made. Just over 2 years later, in May of 1990, a teenage boy made a call to local police saying that he'd made a bone-chilling discovery near the intersection of St. Joe Center and Schwartz Road. Fuck. Shit. Autosphyxiation with the 2 says, can you say fart Wayne, please? Thank you. Fart Wayne. It's kind of like related to Bruce Wayne. Dude, I have like a full-on fucking like dyslexia at this point. Salty Turtle Cupcake. Whoa. Welcome back for 13 months. Being a mischievous frog. Joel, how are things? I hope you're doing well. Thank you. I'm doing well. I'm doing great. I'm doing stupendous. And I hope you're well, Salty. Long time no see. John Swag with a 5 says, love you, brother. Nothing better than to end the night with your vids. Much love. Thank you, John. Much love to you as well. I appreciate that. You have a full-on fart lexia at this point. Yeah, my farts be pronouncing things weird. Like, quiet down back there, alright? You live in the same city as Chills? Hell yeah, brother. Tell him I said hey. Just over 2 years later, in May of 1990, a teenage boy made a call to local police saying that he made a bone-chilling discovery near the intersection of St. Joe Center and Schwartz Roads. A message had been scrawled on a barn in either pencil or a dark-colored crayon, and when the police arrived, what they saw, they saw that it read, what the fuck? A message had been scrawled on a barn, either in pencil or a dark-colored crayon, and when the police arrived, they saw that it read, "I killed April Tinsley. I will kill again. Ha 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 ha." The discovery reignited the investigation into April's murder, albeit only for a brief time, and I feel like that ha 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 part almost like kills the immersion. Should I like not include that? But it's like kind of written like weird, you know? That's all, folks. I can't really do Porky the Pig. If Joel told us that, I would faint right there. What are you faint from? What? It makes it sound fake. Yeah, it's just like, I mean, I get it, like the fact that someone would write that who's crazy, but me, just like my voice going, ha 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 ha, like it just, I feel like it would actually make someone lol during a serious thing. A message had been scrawled on a barn in either pencil or a dark-colored crayon, and when the police arrived, they saw that it read, "I kill April Tinsley. I will kill again." The discovery reignited the investigation into April's murder, albeit only for a brief time, and after another fruitless search for clues and leads, the search for her killer once again went cold. Then, in 2004, more than 14 years after the murder had occurred, a series of terrifying handwritten notes were discovered having been stuffed into mailboxes or stuck to the bicycles of innocent children. The notes contained grammatical errors and misspellings that were identical to what was found scrawled on the barn 12 years earlier, and investigators were united in their belief that the notes, as well as the graffiti on the barn, had indeed been the work of April's murderer. Of the 4 messages located both in Fort Wayne as well as in the surrounding area, 3 were left attached to bicycles that belonged to young girls and only had been stuffed into a mailbox. All were written on lined yellow notepaper and had been placed into transparent plastic bags. Some of these plastic bags included a Polaroid picture depicting Some of these plastic bags included a pair of... Oh my god, I'm fucking out of it. D-Shore with the 3.25. Do the tongue twisters fast, you know. Peter Piper. Peter Piper, Peter Piper, poop, pooped in my pants and pickled my Piper peppers. Some of these plastic bags included a Polaroid picture depicting the nude lower half of a man the police believed to be April's killer, and some even included a used contraceptive. DNA samples were taken from those, which were then compared to those taken from April's body 14 years earlier, and they were an uncontested match. One of the handwritten notes, which had been placed in the basket of a young girl's bicycle, read as follows: "Hi, honey. Been watching you. I am the same person that kidnapped and kill April Tinsley. You are my next victim. If you don't report this to police and I don't see this in the paper, I will blow up your house." As you can imagine, this caused a huge stir in the local media, and April's grief-stricken parents were forced to relive the pain and torment they had felt on the day her body was found. Disgusted and horrified, local law enforcement promised to do everything they could to find the man who was now taking pleasure in taunting the residents of Fort Wayne. But just like so many years before, they had absolutely no luck in bringing April's killer to justice. Thankfully, this incredibly sick and disturbed individual had remained silent ever since, and had never again attempted to remind the local populace of the horrifying acts he'd taken such pleasure in committing. In 2016, the police announced that, thanks to the advancements in DNA profiling technology, they had been able to construct a rough image of what their suspect looked like. He's said to be a white male with dark hair and brown or hazel eyes, and based on the witness descriptions from 1988, it's thought that he could be well into his 50s. That's what. That's what's particularly horrifying about this case. It's bad enough that April was killed in such a horrific manner, and that her killer took the time to anonymously but publicly gloat of what he'd done. It's the fact that whenever you see a middle-aged man in Fort Wayne, who just so happens to have dark hair... What? Oh, I see. I see, my bad. Sleepo de Pro. It's the fact that whenever you see a middle-aged man in Fort Wayne who just so happens to have dark hair and dark eyes, you might just be looking at one of the sickest, most depraved murderers who's ever stepped foot on American streets. Anthony Esposito with the 5 says, my name's Woody Hardy, har har. Shark from Toy Story. Har har har. Dude, that shark was pretty cool. Who's the voice of the shark? I forget. Oh, Pradeep is here. The nude lower half of a man. Yeah. Oh, shit. Well, we hath arrived. I get to swan dive into my bed, true. 75 total mistakes tonight. You know what's would be fun? If there was a way to like gift, because like on Twitch streams, sometimes they gift like the streamers, and well, you can like gift like memberships, but over there it's called subscriptions to like a streamer. And I was thinking it would be pretty sick if like, say someone kept track of my mistakes, and then at like 50 mistakes I gifted 5 subscriptions to people, and then at like if I made 100 mistakes I had to gift like 10 or then 10 more, you know what I mean? It just like doubled every time I got to like different increments or whatever. But I don't know, just an idea for another time. That would be fun. I'm holding Pradeep like a baby right now. I have pet the kitty. What do I think happened to Brian Schaefer? I have no idea. Do a bloopers reel? Yeah, if I did bloopers, I'd have to include it like... I mean, pretty much the whole stream is like one big blooper, so if you guys like watching the streams, they will be available in the streams playlist. So if you're familiar with how to access playlists, there's a streams one, and you can watch those as they are unlisted after they get processed by YouTube, and then they go on that little doohickey. Google says they got April's murderer recently. Really? Hey, Patience Pisces with the 20 says, thank you for the stories. You're welcome, Patience. Thank you for your generous donation. Appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. But we have arrived to the end of the stories here, at least, and I will now read my outro script for the recording, but you guys got to think of something funny to go at the end of it. And God, Pradeep is thrusting his body at my feet. Do I have a Twitch channel? I do not, no. I thought it'd be fun to stream on Twitch, and some people like double dip over streaming on YouTube and Twitch, but I never did it. Anthony Esposito with the 5 says, my day. Baby, I made some spicy food. Sounds good the moment I cover it in sriracha. Just like baste it. Just marinate that shit.
Hey, listen.
Without the DNA technology we have now, it was stupid easy to get away with murder back then. That is crazy. I mean, it's not even that long ago, you know? And remember, you can have all this for 6 easy installments. Oh, that's evil. Oh, you had a B-Day. Oh, yeah. Happy B-Day, Carly. Yeah, Easter is messed up Thanksgiving. Alright, let me just read it. Hey, friends. Thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, always fart in bed. No, I'll do a different one, but 420 is Buttersuck Day? Yeah, maybe. Do a stream? No, I wouldn't. That would fall on. I'd have to do it on a stream day, maybe 421. Honestly, maybe June 4th is Buttersuck Day. I like that. What do you think about that?
Pradeep, what are you doing?
And remember, I keep that thing on me. God damn it, Bobby. I keep that thing on me. God damn it, Bobby. Easters are not when they seem. This is true. I'll do that one. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, Easters are not when they seem. Pradeep, what are you doing, boy? He's just obsessed right now. Your birthday's actually on 420. Shit, bro. Blaze it, brother. You should certainly choose. I think your B-Day makes sense. Or do your half B-Day to spread out the love. Oh, that would be interesting. Just to give me more reasons to do a drunk stream. Sampai, you just got here. Where the hell you been, brother? Dread Archive with the 666 first payment. Thank you, Dread. Thank you, my friend. Unfortunately, the stream cometh to an endeth. But also, if you guys didn't know, there is a new podcast out. It's new podcast is always out every Tuesday at noon EST. The Let's Read podcast, available on all major podcast platforms. But yeah, so check that out. Otherwise, this will be up first on Patreon. Only $1 a month over there for early access, and then I'll get it up over at the normal time, 7 p.m. EST. You already know what it is. I don't know what it is. You keep saying that. You already know what it is. I don't know what it is. Who's that Pokemon? I don't know.
Listen.
Believes in unicorns with the two says, my birthday's June. Oh, nice. We are birthday twinsies. What the fuck? Joe Rogan and Let's Read coming soon. Yeah, I don't even know what I would talk to Joe Rogan about. Even though he does seem like a nice person, I don't think he would be very entertained by any of my insight into literally nothing. We would just have to both get really high on DMT and just go talk to the elves. Oh, he should go interview the elves. That would be really funny. Oh, I should dress up as an elf and pretend he should get really high. Joe, I dress up as an elf, and then I tell him funny things. Anyways, goodbye, my friends. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you so much for the support and all the just goody drum drops. What was the closing statement? It had something to do with Easter. Why is my chilling app not working? I don't know. I don't work with. I just produce I produce narrations for chilling app. I'm not really one to know anything about like the technical stuff, but I do appreciate that you downloaded it. Rest in peace, Joe Rogan. What the hell happened to Joe? He better not be dead. You can't keep making up Joe's dead lies. That would be funny though. That I feel like wasn't there somebody like on Twitter where they just like constantly made up like rumors about some celebrity just being dead. It would get me every time though. Anyways. Oh wait, Cashy. Oh hi Cashy. Oh no, I'm sorry. We all got here at the end. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't understand. YouTube just like cycles people out, but like why the hell doesn't it tell people at the beginning of the fucking stream? I think their notification system is like weird for streams, but I don't know. Thank you guys either way, and I'll be back streaming on Thursday, so stay tuned for that. You already know what it is. I don't know what it is. Why do you keep saying that?